Good evening, viewers. So today we will going to discuss about secularism and communalism. So first we will discuss about secularism. What is secularism and uh, in which way India adopted the principles of secular policies. Okay. So India has inherited multiculturalism since ancient times. Okay, these are many religious and cultures in India. Due to multiculturalism, India has a unique identity in the world. Okay, for a nations to be created, there must be one language, one culture, one history, and one religion. Okay, but in India there is exception. Okay, so in India, people of different religions, different cultures live together. Still, India remains as a nation. Okay, that means our identity is we are Indians. Okay, in India, people of different religion, different cultures lives together still. India remains as a nation on their unity, their identity as a, they are the Indians. Okay, so in India, along with multiculturalism, social tolerance is the backbone of the society. Even though people behave according to their religion and culture, the religion and culture of each other is respected. Okay, in India, everyone has the right to spread and promote religion and culture. Indian society cannot be considered except religion because religion has become an integral part of the Indian society. Okay, so after independence, the Indian constitution has worked to maintain national unity and social tolerance. Okay, by keeping together these pluralistic policies of pluralistic society. Okay, the constitution enhances or empowers secularism with religious freedom. Okay, that means each one has the freedom to accept any religion. Okay, in personal life, people will have religious freedoms, but religious cannot be used in public life. Okay, that means there is in India there is absence of any state religion. Okay, the concept of such a positive secularism is accepted. Therefore, the integrity of Indian society remain as it is. Okay, so now we discuss what is the meaning of secularism. Okay, so secularism means that the state does not give a shelter to any particular religion. That means there is an absence of any state religion. Okay, so religion means accepting personal matters along with them to behave according to their religion. In the British Encyclopedia, secularism is defined as a non-spiritual. Secularism is not an anti-heathenism but has the same faith in all religions, and there will be no particular state religion. Okay, also political system will not be governed by religion. Citizens of different faiths may be lived in a state. Okay, so every citizens can live life freely. Okay, so according to their own choices. Okay, so this is the meaning of secularism. In Indian tradition, secularism can be defined in the following three ideologies. First one is liberal ideology. Okay, so liberal ideology has endorsed the Western concept of secularism. That means it follow the Western concept of secularism. Okay, politics and religious should be completely different. Okay, so a religion should not affect politics and politics should not be affected by the religions. That means in politics, in the affairs of politics, there is no dominations of any religion. Then both things are agreed differently. Second, the transformational ideology emphasize social, economic, and political development. This ideology recognize that religion should be limited to the private life of the individual and should try to create scientific perspectives along the individuals. Okay, then third ideology is it's about Gandhian ideology. So Gandhian ideology has taken a different role that liberal and transformational ideology. The Gandhian emphasis religious tolerance and religious bigotry. Okay, so religion and politics are interrelated and cannot be separated according to Gandhian principles. That means he talked about ethics and moralities should be combined. Ethics and moralities cannot be separated from each other. Okay, so Gandhian believed that religious values are essential to political morality. Okay, so with the influence and according to Gandhi, the religions they should not be separated from ethics and politics or religion and politics and both internally and externally. Okay, so with the influences of the above three ideologies, the nature of Indian secularism is different from the Western secularism. Okay, although religion is considered separated from politics in India, but actually religion is separated from the politics. Okay, in India, in individual life, religion is accepted. The positive concept of secularism developed in India that the state should adhere to this principle without any political use of a religion. Okay, so thus, despite greatness of India, the integrity of the nations has been um, a great deal. Okay, so in a very short way, the term secularism means being separated from religion or having no religious bias. Okay, and next one is the secular person is one who does not own his moral values to any religion. That means his values are the product of his rational and scientific thinking. Okay, so secularism means separations of religion from political, economic, social, cultural aspects of life, and religion being treated as a purely personal matter. Okay, so it emphasizes disassociation of the state from religion and full freedom to all religions and tolerance of all religions. Okay, so it also stands for equal opportunities for followers of all religions and no discriminations and partiality on grounds of religion. That means each and everyone has the freedom to accept any religion. There is a no, there is a absence of state religion, and the government should not enforce to follow or adopt any particular religion. Okay, that is the main, or that is the meaning of secularism. Okay, so now we look over its history. Okay, secularism in the history of India. Okay, so secular traditions are very deep rooted in the history of India. Okay, Indian culture is based on the blending of various spiritual traditions and social movements. Okay, since ancient time, the Satnam Dharma, which is followed in Hinduism, was basically allowed to develop as a holistic religion by welcoming different spiritual traditions and trying to integrate them into a common mainstream. Okay, so the development of four Vedas and the various interpretations of the Upanishad and the Purans clearly highlight the religious plurality of Hinduism. Okay, so emperor from Asaka period, okay, was the first great emperor to announce as early as 3rd century BC that the state would not prosecute any religious sect. Okay, so in his 12th rock ediction, Asoka made an appeal not only for the tolerance of all religion sects, okay, but also to develop a spirit of great respect towards them. Okay, so even after the advent of Jainism, Buddhism, and the later Islam and Christianity on the Indian soul, the quest for religious tolerance and context of different faith continued. Okay, so in medieval India, the Sufi and Bhakti movement bond the people of various communities together with love and peace. Okay, so the leading lights of these movements were Baba Fared, okay, Saint Kabir Das and Guru Nanak Dev and etc. Okay, so in medieval time, religious tolerance and freedom of worship marked the state under Akbar. Okay, from the Akbar period, these principles can be followed. He had a number of Hindus as his ministers. Okay, so like this. So the important things according to his period is the most important evidence of his tolerance policy was his promulgation of din ilah or the divine faith, okay, which had elements of both Hindu and Muslim faith, okay. So that this was not imposed upon the subject is obvious from the fact that there were few adherents to it. Okay, along with this, he emphasized the concept of peace and harmony among religion. Okay, he even sponsored a series of religious debates which were held in the Ibat Khan or the Hall of Worship, and the participants in these debates include theologians among Brahmin, Jain, or Zoroastrians. Okay, so even before Akbar, Babur had advised Humayun to set religious prejudice, protect temples, preserve cows, and administer justice properly in this tradition. So these are all the symptoms of secularistic principles. Okay. So the spirit of secularism was strengthened and enriched through the Indian freedom movement too. Okay. Though the British have pursued the policies of divide and rule. Okay. In accordance with this policy, the British partitions Bengal in 1905. Okay, then separate electors were provided for Muslim. Okay, through the Indian Council Act of 1909, a provision which was extended to Sikh, Christians, Europe, and Anglo-Indian in certain provinces by the Government of India Act 1919. These are the different practices which was practiced by the Britishers. Then Ramsay MacDonald Communal Award of 1932 provided for separate electorate as well as reservations of seat for minorities, even for the depressed class, become the basis for representations under the Government of India Act 1935. Okay, so however, Indian movement was characterized by secular traditions and ethos rights from the start. So it is this phenomena of this concept is start from the very past. Okay, in the initial part of the Indian freedom movement, the liberals like Govind Ranade, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, by and large pursued a secular approach to politics. Okay, the constitution drafted by Pandit Motilal Nehru as the chairman of the Heroistic Nehru Committee in 1928 had many provisions on secular as there shall be no state religion for the Commonwealth of India or for any provisions in the Commonwealth. Okay, nor shall be the state either directly or indirectly endowed any religion, any preference, or impose any disability on account of religious beliefs or religious status. Okay, so Gandhi's secularism was based on a commitment to the brotherhood of religious communities based on their respect for and pursuit of truth, whereas Jawaharlal Nehru's secularism was based on a commitment to scientific humanism with a progressive view of historical change. Okay, so at present scenario in the context of India, the separations of religion from the state constitute the core of the philosophy of secularism. That means here the principle here for religions is totally separated from politics. Okay, so now we discuss about philosophy of Indian secularism. Okay, so the term secularism as akin to the Vedic concept of dharma nirapeksha. Okay, that is the indifferences of state to religion. Okay, this model of secularism is adopted by Western societies where the government is totally separated from religions. Okay, that is separations of church and state. Okay, the next one, Indian philosophy of secularism is related to Sarva Dharma Sambhava. Okay, it's literally meaning the designations of the path followed by all religion is the same, though the path themselves may be different. Okay, they may be adopted different path, but their main objective is same. Okay, which means equal respect to all religions. Okay, then sorry, then the concept embarks and promoted by personalities like Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi is called positive secularism that reflects the dominant ethos of Indian culture. Okay, India does not have an official state religion. However, different personal laws on matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, with an individual religions. That means in India there is a religion affairs is a totally personal affairs. It depends on the individual that whether she or he has to adopt which types of religion. Okay, so Indian secularism is not an end in itself, but a means to address religious purity and sought to achieve peaceful coexistence of different religions. India does not have an official state religion. Okay, so now we discuss about Indian constitutions and secularism. What are the provisions made in the Indian constitutions for the religious principles? Okay, in the original constitutions, the word secularism was not mentioned. Okay, yet the philosophy of the Indian constitutions was secular. That means when our constitutions is framed at that time, secularist principles were not mentioned there. Okay, it is added after that because when our preamble is framed, you go through the preamble that we, the people of India, having solemnly constitute, resolve India into a sovereign, socialistic, secular, republic, and democratic. Okay, so there is no here mention about the secularistic principles. Okay, so these secularistic principles added later. Okay, so there is a clear incorporations of all the basic principles of secularism into various provisions of constitutions. Okay, this means that no particular religion is considered the religion of the state in India. From the standpoint of the state, all religions will be the same. In the Indian constitutions, secularism is not based on based on atheism. Despite acknowledge the existence of religion, a secular society has been created on the basis of religious tolerance. For this, provision have been made in different parts of the Indian constitutions. It is mentioned in the preamble of the Indian constitutions, that is, as I already discussed, that we, the people of India, the key features of secularism is found in this sentence, that we, the people of India, this is the key features, this is the main features of Indian constitutions. Okay, no particular religion has place in this sentence. That means we feeling there we found that that is the feeling of we feeling. Okay, however in 1974 the amendment to the constitution included the term secular. Okay, This does not mean that India was not a secular state before 1974. Okay, before 1974, also India adopted the secularistic principles. Okay, but in 1974, legally the secular term is mentioned in our Indian constitutions. Okay, although the term secularism is not mentioned, India was a secular state under the constitutions. Okay, this is evident from the different provisions of the constitutions and the decisions of the court. Okay, so the principles of secularism is incorporated in the promotions of democracy by maintaining national unity and integrity. Okay, further provisions are found in the constitutions for the formations of secular societies. Section 15 shall not discriminate against any citizen on account of religion, race, caste, gender, place of birth. Okay, so Article 25 gives the right to freedom of religion. Every citizen of India has full right to participate his religion and promote and spread his religion. Okay, but in public life, discriminations between citizens cannot be made on the basis of religion, since sections 28 does not provide religious educations to any educational institutions run by state fund. Okay, so according to Article 30, all the minorities are given the right to establish educational institutions of their choice according to the criteria of religion and language. Okay, so our mentioned provision of the constitutions does not allow any religion to interfere with the rule of the people, even when people of different religions live in India. Okay, so, from time to time, the Supreme Court has stated that secularism is the fundamental part of Indian society and cannot be charged or cannot be changed in any way. Okay, in Kesavananda Bharati case versus State of Kerala, the Constitution Bench of Honor Supreme Court reiterated that secularism was a part of the basic structures of the Indian constitutions, which is mentioned in our Article 368. Okay, that means basic structure means which part that part which is cannot be changed, which is mentioned in our Article 368. Okay, this view crystallized in the landmark case of S.R. Bomai versus Union of Indian cases. Okay, in fact, the judges in the S.R. Bomai case went on to say that the concept of secularism in the Indian Constitution is in broad agreement with the US Constitution's First Amendment. However, within a year, the Supreme Court in Ismail cases, Ismail versus Union of India cases started the activity positive concept of secularism based on scientific thinking it had advocated in the S.R. Bhumai case. Okay, so subsequently in the infamous of certain cases, the Supreme Court justified its concept of secularism by quoting extensive from Indian scriptures. Okay, so secular character of India has in fact received a setback, and the issue of secularism in India today is not simple, especially the light of the growing religious fundamentalism who owes its revival to the failure of the government in controlling social attack. Okay, so the Supreme Court expressed its view on the secular nature of the constitution for the first time in the Sardar Siddhan Tehar Sahib versus State of Bombay, where it was held that Article 25 and 26 embody the principles of religious features of Indian civilizations from the start of history. Okay, so these are the different provisions, or these are the different provisions made by the Indian constitutions relating to secularism. Okay, so the term secular was added to the preamble by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Okay, so before the sorry, after that secular word mentioned in the in our principles. Okay, sorry, in our preamble. Okay, so it emphasized the fact that constitutionally India is a secular country which has no state religion. Okay, and that the state shall recognize and accept all religion, not favor or personalize any particular religion. Okay, so in our article 14 also there we can see the secular features like that article 14 grants equality before the law and equal protections of law. That is that there also they emphasize secularistic principles. Okay, in article 14 enlarge the concept of secularism to the widest possible extent by prohibiting discrimination on grounds of religion, sex, caste, race, place of birth. Okay, so this is also a practice of secularistic principles. Then Article 716 guarantees equality of opportunity to all citizens in matters of public employment. So all citizens, the word indicates secularistic principles, and reiterates that there would be no discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, descent, place of birth, and residence. Okay. Then Article 25 provides freedom of conscience. That is, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and the right to freely profess, practice, and propagate any religion. That is about Article 25. Then Article 26, every religious group or individual has the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes and to manage its own affairs in matters of religion. Then Article 27, the state shall not compel any citizen to pay any taxes for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious institutions. Okay. Then Article 28 allows educational institutions maintained and by different religious groups to impart religious instructions. Okay. Then Article 29 and 30 provides cultural and educational rights to the minorities. Then one more article, Article 51A, that is belongs from fundamental duties. It's obliges that all the citizens to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood, and to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Okay, so that is all about our Indian provisions, okay, or constitutional provisions to secure the secularistic principles. Then next we discuss about the basic difference between Indian secularistic principles and Western secularistic principles. Okay, so, over the years, India has developed its own unique concept of secularism that is fundamentally different from the parallel Western concept of secularism in that way. Like, first one is, as per the Western model of secularism, the state and the religion have their own separate spheres, and neither the state nor the religion shall intervene in each other affairs. That means there is a complete separations of religion from politics. Okay, so thus the Western concept of secularism requires complete separations of religion and state. Okay, however, in India, neither in law nor in practice any wall of separations between religion and the state exists. Okay, so in India, both the state and religion can and often do interact and intervene in each other's affairs within the legally prescribed and judicially settled patterns. Okay, that means they must follow the legal procedures when they practice any kind of religious with political affairs. Okay, then mm, uh, mm, mm, in India, both state and religion can and often do interact and intervene in each other's affairs within the legally prescribed norms as per the in the words of Indian secularism does not require a total banish of religion from the state of affairs. Okay, so as per the Western model, the state cannot give in any financial support to educational institutions run by the religious communities. On the other hand, Indian model has chosen a positive mode of engagement. Okay, so in India, the state provides all religious minorities the right to establish and maintain their own educational institutions, which may receive assistance from the assistance or aid from the state. Okay, so this is the cases of India. Then in the Western model, state does not intervene in the affairs of religion till the time religion is working within the limits of the state. On the other hand, in India, secularism, state shall interfere in religion so as to remove evils in it. Okay. Then India has intervened by enforcing legislation against the practices of sati and widow burning, dowry, animal and bird sacrifice, and child marriage, and preventing Dalit from entering temple. Okay, so in Western concept of secularism, religion is related entirely to the private sphere and has no place in public life whatsoever. Okay, then the Western model prohibits any public policy to be drafted on the basis of religion. Therefore, state is absolutely distant from the religious activities and practices of its citizens. Okay, in India, state has the policy of setting up Department of Religious Endowment. Okay, it is also involved in appointing trustees of these boards. Okay, so these are the basic difference between Indian secularism and Western secularism. Now we discuss what are the threats. Okay, threats to secularism. First one is, while the Indian Constitution declared the state being absolutely neutral to while India was absolutely neutral to all religion, on our society has stepped in religion. Okay, so meanwhile of religion politics, that is mobilizations of vote on ground of primordial identities like religion, caste, and ethnicity have put Indian secularism in danger conditions. Okay, so communal politics operates through the communalizations of social space by spreading myths and stereotypes against minorities through attacks on rational values and by practicing a divisive ideological propaganda and politics. Okay, so politicization of any one religious group leads to the competitive politicizations of other groups, thereby resulting in inter-religious conflict. Okay. Next one is one of the manifestations of communalization in political rights. In recent past also, communalism has proved to be a great threat to the secular fabric of Indian polity. And next one is the rise of Hindu nationalism in recent years have resulted into mob cycling or mere suspicions of sheltering cows and consuming beef. Okay. So next one is, in addition with this, post closure of shelterness campaign against love jihad, then reconversions or ghar waspi, okay, etc. reinforces reinforces the communal tendencies, okay, communal tendencies in society, okay. So Islamic fundamentalism also responsible for also a threat to religious secularism. Okay, Islamic fundamentalism for establishment of Islamic State based on Sharia law, which directly comes into conflict with conceptions of the secular and democratic state. Okay, so in recent years, there have been steady incidences of Muslim youth being inspired and radicalized by group like ISIS, okay, which is very unfortunate for both India and the world. Okay, so these are the basic, these are the some threats to the practice of secularisms. Okay, then in which way we can way forward from these practices in a realistic society? The best approach to nurture secularism is expand religious freedom rather than strictly practice state neutrality. Okay, it is incumbent on us to ensure value educations that make the younger generation understand and appreciate not only its own religious traditions but also those of the other religions in the country. Next one is, there is also a need to identify a common framework or a shared sets of values which allows the diverse group to live together. Okay. Next one is, the prerequisites to implement social reform initiatives like uniform civil code are to create a conducive environment and forcing socio-political consensus. Okay, so these are the different measures or the way forward to practice or to the threat of Indian secularisms. Okay, so this is all about from Indian. This is all about from secularistic principles. Now we will discuss about communalism. What is communalism? Mm, in a very short time, we will discuss about communalism. Communalism continues to be a sad and hard reality of Indian politics. Okay, even after the adoptions of the objectives of justice, secularism has equality of all the people. Communalism continues to affect Indian democracy. The fact remains that it has been even increasing in intensity and spreading its fangs. Okay, it constitutes the biggest strain on the unity and integrity of India as a nation. Okay, so the communal riots, which accompanied the dawn of independence and the unfortunate partitions of India, greatly shook the people of India. The leaders of Free India decided to end this menace through the adoptions of secularism as a fundamental feature of Indian constitutions. Justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity were accepted as the four cardinal objectives to be secured for all the citizens of India. Okay, so the decision to secure an emotional integration of people was made. Okay, the constitution guaranteed a right to religious freedom to all and refrained from adopting any religion as a state religion. Okay, for nearly 20 years after the independence, the people of India lived in peace, characterized by almost total absence of communal rights. And then, unfortunately, in 1960, communalism faced in the form of Hindu-Muslim riots in UP, Bihar, West Bengal, and Odisha. Okay, since then, the communal virus has been spreading to various parts of the country. In February, April 2002, communalism in its ugliest form because visible in Gujarat. Okay, so currently Odisha, Karnataka, and Maharashtra have been facing the problem of controlling the activities of some communal groups and organizations. Okay, so communalism has been a recurrent phenomena in Indian politics. Okay, between 1967 to 2011, around 40 major incidents of communal riots took place in various parts of the country. Okay, so communalism in India has been presented in several forms, but chiefly as Hindu Muslim communalism. Okay, so its other form of manifestations have been sectarian of violence, religious riots, regional riots, tribal riots, linguistic communalism, Asahya Sunni conflict, okay, Sikh Nirakais conflict, Sikh Dera Sacha Soda conflict in Punjab. So these are the various types of communal practices which is found in India. Okay, so what are the causes of communalism in India? Communalism involves the exploitations of social pluralism of Indian society by fundamental groupist organizations and sex for securing their respective narrowly conceived political, religious, and sectarian goals. Okay, so communalism has been a national menace, a mental disease, and a big evil. The need is to eliminate this menace. For finding remedies, it is essential for us to identify the cause behind the presence of communalism. Okay, so what is the first cause of communalism? First is communalism as a bad legacy of history. Okay, that means this practice we found from the historical perspectives. Okay, these immediate parts of independent India was an era of communal politics initiated and encouraged by the British rules and nurtured and practiced by some Indian political parties like Muslim League and other sectarian organizations. Okay, so the introductions of communal electorate as a device for implementing the British policy of divide and rule gave fuel to the communalizations of Indian politics. Okay, this led to the birth of communal divide and gradually to the outbreak of widespread communal riots. The partitions of the country was a direct outcome of this process. The creation of Pakistan as a Muslim state gave strength to the idea of India as a Hindu state, despite the fact that a large number of Muslims continue to leave India even after 1947. The leaders of India realized the danger of further disintegrations of Indian pluralist society under the weight of communalism and hence decided to initiate a process of nation building and national integration through the grant of right to equality and acceptance of secularism as the way of life. Unfortunately, some people in India belonging to almost all communities fail to forget the past. The legacy of past continues to live and mark the present. Okay, so the practices of communalism we found from the historical perspective or from the past history. Okay, the next one is communalism in history. Communalism and leadership. Okay, in the process of political socializations and leadership recruitment in India, religion and religious institutions have been playing a key role in the particular. The minority groups have always projected and supported only those leaders who stand fully committed to their respective religious and sectarian interests. Such leaders become and remain leader by pursuing sectarian interest. Okay, the practice of choosing become and remain leaders by pursuing sectarian interest. And the candidate of communal lines and communalized voting have been keeping these menace alive. Okay, even the educated elites and the so-called sectarialist parties adopted or secularistic parties adopted communal postures for getting acceptance and support in politics. Okay, so this failure of the political leadership to remain away from communalism has been responsible for keeping alive this phenomena. Okay, that means leadership also play active role in for the strong practices of communalism. Okay, then next one is presence of some communalist organizations and group. Okay, a major reason responsible for the continuance of communalism has been the presence of several communal and sectarian political and non-political organizations in the Indian political system. Several sectarian and fundamentally religious organizations like Senans, Simritis, Jihadis, okay, fundamentalists have been all responsible for keeping alive the communal card. Okay, the activities of certain religious organizations at times aggravated the fire of communalism in India. Even some self-proclaimed secularistic parties have failed to avoid alliance with communalist organizations. Okay, so presence of any kind of communal party is also responsible for the rise of communalism. Okay, the next one is religious orthodoxy. Okay, another factor that has bred communalism has been religious orthodoxy and obstructionism among some religious groups. Okay, some Muslim religious organizations remain committed to obscure and medieval glories of Islam, the supremacy of Islam, and the Muslim personal law. These organizations usually toe the orthodox lines and refuses to accept the new realities of a modern society. Even attention the part of the government towards a restructuring of old practices is viewed with distrust and as an invasion against religion. This oppose even such amendment in some practices as stand now accepted in some Islamic states of the world. Formation of Muslim centers for protection Muslim mosques, okay, other areas is being restored by the these Muslim organizations. Okay, so religious orthodoxy, that means if anyone followed their religions, if anyone feel that their religious is superior than the other religions of the world, then there is a possibility of communal violence. Okay, then next one is communalizations of political struggle. Okay, some political parties of India do not hesitate to use the communal factor for securing advantageous positions in the struggle for power. Okay, these fully exploit the social appeal of communalizations. Okay, even the communist parties and self-proclaimed secularistic parties do not refrain from using the communal card. The CPM does not hesitate to join hands with the Muslim League or All India Muslim League for widening power. In fact, no party hesitated in seeking support from a sectarian and religious party for getting political power. Opportunistic alliances like BJP, BSP, and CPM, okay, like other party, and the list is long. Okay, reflect these practices in. So such activities of both the secularists and communalist parties do a great harm to the cause of secularism. Okay, and nationalism and modernizations, and conversely, these strain communalism or strengthen or strong communalistic practices or communist violence in India. Okay, then religious fundamentalism and fanaticism. Okay, Religious fanaticism has been such a big cause of communalism that many students of Indian politics tend to equate it with communalism. Movements for religious revivalism and fundamentalism have of late been gaining strength in India. Each religious community is getting engaged in celebrating its gaining strength in India. Each religious community is getting engaged in celebrating its religious functions in bigger and bigger form with a view to demonstrate its strength to other communities. Okay, so the use of mandiras, mandir, masjid, gurudwar. Okay, these are the divas and other religious places set reality. Okay, disputes over constructions of religious places of worship have been common. Conversions from one religion to another religion are encouraged by resorting the ethical means. So, okay, so these fanaticism and religious fundamentalism also responsible for the communal violence. Okay. The next one is poverty and underdevelopment. Okay. So mass poverty, unemployment, scarcity of essential commodities, ever increasing populations, regional imbalances, economic backwardness, economic inequalities, literacy, ignorance, and corruptions have also contributed to the growth of communalism. Okay, thus unemployed youth is easily drawn by the politico-religious leaders towards religious fundamentalism and fanaticism. Okay, so these are the some basic problem in India, for which also this causes also responsible for communal riots. Okay, then another causes is the social causes, that is issues of conservations. Okay, despite the fact of having living together, the Hindus and Muslim, the two major communities, continue to be suspicious of each other. Okay, the Muslim continuously fear the threat of Hindu culture invasions upon their religion and culture, and hence resource to fundamentalism. Okay, in order to keep their number large, they do not fully accept the need for family welfare programs and do not refrain from conversions of others to their religion. Okay, then the Christians also try to use conservations as a means to serve the humanity, while the Hindu regard it as an exercise for exploiting the poverty of the poor for securing conservations. Okay, so this is also one of the major causes. Okay, then another is compulsions of electoral politics. Okay, the electoral politics in India has been becoming more and more expensive and competitive. Okay, these the stakes have become very high for the candidate or parties contesting elections. Consequently, they never hesitate to use fair and poll means creating communal tensions to secure more votes for securing advantage in the elections. The party in power offers does not to the different sections to a people population of their groups. So okay, so this is also another cause of communal violence or practices of communalism. Okay, so in which way we can eradicate communalism, or what are the remedial measures against communalism? So first one is reforms in the education systems. Okay, this is the most important reform of communalism. Okay, or against communalism. Communalism is a mental malady. Okay, that means it is a mental concept and hence needs a mental remedy. Okay, it must be treated through a well-designed systems of education. Special textbooks, general books, articles, publications, and other means of education should be used for checking communalism. Okay. Then next one is a well-directed socialization process. Okay. Proper socializations of children in favor of secular togetherness and living must be undertaken by the families, schools, college, community groups, and social activities. Okay. The next one is proper and effective use of mass media. Good use of mass media should be made to spread the message of secularism, religious tolerance, and paternity of the people. Okay. The next one is determined fight against poverty and underdevelopment. Since poverty and socio-economic backwardness provide a rich breeding ground to the forces of communalism. Okay, all efforts must be made for the economic regenerations of the people. The next one is awareness about duties. This leads the just like the list of fundamental duties of the people includes the duty to cultivate scientific temper and the spirit of equality and humanism so that they may understand the significance of their composite culture. Steps should be taken to inculcate among the people respect towards these and other fundamental duties. Okay, the next one is use of social services scheme in educational institutions like the NCC, NSS, Scout Guide. Okay, then voluntary services, youth leadership training program. Okay, should be initiated. Okay, common and standard living among the youth in camps and hostels should be encouraged. Okay. Then next one is legal ban on all communalist organizations. Okay, ban of the communalist groups and their organization should be imposed. The next one is place and brotherhood communities in local areas. The next one is special police. Okay, special anti-riot police force should be raised, trained, and effectively deployed. Okay, the next one is effective use of local administrations. Okay, so local administration should be given clear-cut orders and powers to prevent and control communal riots in its area. Then healthy role of mass media during riots. Okay, in the event of outbreak of communal riots, the mass media must provide reliable, objective, and credible convergence. Okay, it should not indulge in making new feeling. Okay, new communal feeling. Then special code for punishing communal rioters. Those who practice communal riots or those who practice communal violence, they must be punished under a special code. Okay, then special persecution in riot prone area. Riots prone area should be identified and special law and order must be maintained in that area. Then again, another one is involvement of NGOs and civil society. The non-governmental organizations, voluntary social service organizations, and clubs and other philanthropies associations should be encouraged to spread secular way of life, to encourage inter-community relations, to prevent communal riots, and to promote communal peace and goodwill. Okay, the next one is keeping religion separate from politics. Okay, you need to keep religion separate from politics should be states in religious functions. That means religion must be separated from politics. The next one is minority rights and due representations. Okay, due representation to minorities should be given in all governmental bodies. Okay, and the next one is review of reservations policies. The reservation policies must be periodically reviewed and suitably modified. The time has come to decide whether it is going to continue forever or it is to be terminated or phases out after a definite date. Okay, the next one is prevention of communalizations of history. Okay, communalizations of history of India should be made a penal offense. Okay, next one is popularizations of the principles of unity in diversity. Okay, the inner unity of all religions, that is their shared and common values, should be used as foundations for projecting the composite culture of our people. So these are the some remedial measures against the practices of communalism. Okay, so all these steps can be help us to fight the evil of communalism. Communalism has been a national menace, and its eliminations need national level efforts. Okay, so these are all about communalism. Okay, so we've already discussed about secularism and communalism. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me. Okay, no doubt. Okay. This is all from today's class. Thank you.